So, welcome back then from your trip, and welcome Rebecca Campbell to Livsenergi podcast. You are very welcome.
Oh, so happy to connect with you again.
Yeah. Do you remember me?
I do, of course.
Yeah, we met
It's a couple
few
years
times.
ago, wasn't it?
Yes. So we've published all your books so far.
Yeah.
Because it's 3, and then now the 4th one, Your Soul Had a Dream, Your Life Is It. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why we reconnect here after a few years since the last time we spoke, I think.
It was Letters
about
to a
2
Starseed we were talking about last, right? Yeah, I remember that.
That's
I was
very
in a
true.
different office then. I remember where.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So looking back, I mean, it's been a few years and a lot of things have happened in your life.
Mhm.
And we are about to launch your latest book, Your Soul Had a Dream, Your Life Is It.
Mm.
Where are you in life today?
Well, since we spoke last, I think I just had my son. And yeah, I've had a daughter. So I'm a mum of 2. So that has definitely changed a lot. And yeah, I've also been through what they call like the midlife transit. So I'm 40, what am I now? 43. So yeah, it's been a big period. I think the last time we spoke, I was definitely like kind of going through those like initiations that we all go through. And it was quite an intense time on the planet as well, which it of course still is. And so I think like most people, just it's, we're changing at such a rapid rate, and getting closer and closer to who we truly are as well. And so yeah, it's I feel like I have been through an extreme period of change, but I find it hard to talk about because it's been so internal, yet deep. And I think that when we go through these periods of rebirth, they're like 7-year cycles. They're not things that happen overnight. Yeah. How about
But
you?
the thing is, well, yeah, of course, I can relate to. I'm actually 51 this year, and a lot of things is happening in my life because my children are getting old. They don't need me anymore, kind of. So that's my kind of summer this year, to realize that actually, there is a big transition here, and I have to embrace what's coming next. So yes, it's true. So we are kind of well, not 7 years apart. We're a little bit more than that, but yeah. So I figure Your Life Had a Dream, that book is talking there. You are talking about all this, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Deep.
It's a book about deep inner change, outer change too. But really, it is putting words to those periods of proper transformation that we go through, which at the end, we can paint and picture and tell the story where it's like, and then this happened and it all made sense and all of that. But when we're going through it, it is really challenging to navigate. And yet there's this, it's like, we've all heard, like, seen the metaphor of the butterfly, right? Where it goes from one state to another. But what we wish wouldn't happen when we're going through change is we just want certainty, right? And we want it to be over. Like, okay, I'll say yes to the transformation as long as I know that it's going to be worth it, where I'm going exactly, and every step along the way. But we're part of nature, and nature shows us that to change is the only way to be in harmony with life. If we resist change, we get out of flow. We get out of touch with ourselves. We get out of touch with the essence of life, the spirit of life. The seasons teach us that. Every part of nature teaches us that. And I love the analogy of the butterfly, because that transformation is so extreme that we can really get the metaphor of it, particularly that in-between state that often takes longer than we wish it would, where it literally transforms from one state to another. And there's this long period where it is in the chrysalis, and it's in this messy gunk of organs and enzymes and, you know, and if you were to open it, you'd be like, what is that? But with patience, with trust, with just embracing what is, then and a lot of courage to trust that and say yes to that. Let's be clear with that. The most beautiful thing has been created. And I think that most of us have been through some kind of transformation or have witnessed a transformation in someone where it's like, it wasn't straightforward. It wasn't necessarily easy. It required trust, faith, and a lot of courage. But the beauty
And time.
is breathtaking, and time. Yeah. And trust. And when I say trust, it's like trust in the mystery of it, you know, surrender in what is, because, you know, we all resist it. And the physical act of birth, I think that has been my biggest teacher in this period, because I went through it twice, and I feel like I had learned so many of these like sacred teachings, but so many of them are like literally related to birth physically and motherhood and all of this. It is like, oh my gosh, going from theory to like proper embodiment. And like, as you know, I was like, I had to change the time of this meeting because I got back from being away, and my daughter basically has had a stomach bug, and any mum knows, like, you are on call for that, and it just hurdles you into the moment. And I'm sure you will relate with, gosh, the teaching of impermanence. It's like, that is being a parent. The moment you think that you're like, oh, I got this sorted, like they're sleeping through the night, or, you know, I know how to talk to them, whatever it is, boom, they change. Yeah.
But also something that have come to mind when reading the book. You're talking also about beginnings, you know, coming through it, and the end, and then, you know, it's like a weave of life, a web of life. But so it's going into each other, and that's the kind of motherhood as well. Like the children when they're small, we talk about phases. So everything is a phase. They go into it, they go out of it, and everything. So much shorter times perhaps than the life changes that we go through many times, but those short times, so many things can happen in those phases where you follow the child and your reaction to whatever she's going through, and then we evolve together during that time as well. So the baby's phases are a really good teacher of life, of how to react to changes.
So true.
So how old is your daughter now?
She's almost 3, so she's very young.
And Sunny
is almost 6.
Yeah, Sunny and Goldie. It's beautiful names. I love that you have given those names, and it's so true to you, I think.
Aww. Yeah, they're very them. Yeah, it's funny when their names just kind of came, like, it took me a while for both of them, and then it's like when their name arrives, you know it's the name.
It's beautiful. So this book has been one of the most challenging ones that you have written. What you say? Why is that, you think?
Well, first of all, it is a book that was written in a period of extreme change. And it was like, it began, I had this mystical experience, which is where the book begins, where I connected with the energy, the transmission of this book. But it was
great, very beautifully written, and a great experience to share.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I wrote about that experience probably about 50 times, because I barely even spoke of it after it happened, because it was like, it was the most sensual and potent and intimate grace experience of my life, but so embodied as well. And I was like, it really was about like the polarity of the human experience as well, the ecstasy and the agony, the bliss and the grief as well of the human experience, which I think so many of us are living through right now when we turn on the news. And like there's so much love and hope and connection, and there's all so much division and grief, and it's right in front of us right now. And in the mystical experience, it was so vast that I was seeing the gates of life, like the journey of the soul, birth and death. So there was these really, really huge concepts, and really working with holding the polarity, as Marion Woodman would call it, the tension of the opposites of the human experience. And then becoming a mum in such an extreme time as well. It was like right before COVID. A much needed racial reckoning. Also, for me, my homeland and a lot of my family in Australia were in the middle of the fires as well. And so, yeah, my postpartum experience, which I think is a very sensitive time for all women, was really extreme. Like the world was really on fire. And and I think that when I look at like my cosmology, like my belief system, like I do believe that like our soul chooses to come in at certain times. And I think my son, for example, definitely chose to come in those times. He has an intensity about him, say, compared to my daughter, who's more like extroverted and joyful. And not that my son's not joyful, but he has like a real depth to him. Mm-hmm. And I think that, it's very, if you look at my astrological chart, it's all like 12th and 1st house. And there's a lot of like big archetypal mother goddess type themes in there. And so of course becoming a mum was going to be intense for me. And I think, of course, I always felt that. And because to be honest, I think I wasn't sure if I always wanted to be a mum. I was scared that it would take me off my path. And as I've discovered, it's like it definitely changes your path, but it has helped me like embody these spiritual principles that I'd read about and learn about and had thought that I'd integrated in my life, but nothing like motherhood has been able to really anchor it in. And I of course I've always been fascinated by the journey of the soul. And so as I was pregnant and in the birth and all of that, I like really wanted to be like, whoa, what is happening? Like, when does the soul enter? And I remember even things like when I was first pregnant, quite a few people, knowing the work that I did, would be like, so are you like channeling your baby and all of this? And I was like, no, I'm not. And I realized, but I noticed when both of them, when their soul did come in, and I remember talking to a therapist who is just a very, very wise woman. And I remember saying to her, like, why am I not connecting with the spirit of my son? And I did prior to conception, but in the early months, I felt the physical connection, but I didn't feel the spirit connection as much. And she was like, but why would someone want to pry open a bud before it's ready to bloom? And I'm like, oh, so these teachings of nature, I wasn't ready for that. And it definitely, I'd always known at a spiritual level that there's this intelligent pulse that's woven through life. And that intuition and creativity and creation like come from the same place. But the physicality of motherhood and birth and all of that taught it to me in a, like a somatic level. Yeah.
Intense.
Oh my God. Wild. Those cluster feeding nights where it's like breastfeeding every 10 minutes. But then at the same time, and you're like so tired that all you want to do is sleep. And you're like, this is literally torture. I'm not able to sleep. But then at the same time, never feeling more love, these polarities both together. And I remember a friend of mine spoke about the the highest form of meditation in Tibetan Buddhism, as she told me, is the breastfeeding mother. And so you're like really connected, and also just like, you know, you're so like, you're like, oh my gosh, where is my body? You know, so it's these extremes. It's both at the same time. And I think this has been the greatest teaching and initiation for me of motherhood. And also, like, as I wrote in the book, that mother bear raw energy that I don't know where it comes from exactly. I don't know if it's through the physicality of birth that you connect in with your ancestral line and all the gifts, but also the grief and the births and the power and all of that. I don't know if that's it, or if there's something that's happening at a biological level. I don't know what it is, but I definitely touched into that, which I'd always been a big processor of, like grief walker, really, from a very young age, able to sit with people in big emotions. It has always been something that I've naturally done without thinking of. And I think it's because I've always been tapped into those bigger emotions. And whoa, motherhood just like opened that right up.
So, but you've always talked about ancestral lines and connecting to the past, even before you became a mother. So, has this transformation deepened that path as well?
Yeah, definitely.
You would say?
With the mystical experience I had, there was a group of guides that I connected to, which were the ancient grandmothers of the earth, ancient and future. And essentially they came to me as like our connection point forward and back to the original mother. So it's essentially all of our ancestors. And so that mystical experience really brought forth the ancestral work and that group of guides that I do work with now. And so, but I do see them like not just as past, they're past and future, and they're versions of ourselves as well. And I think that that mystical experience, it's like I had that and then had the physical experience of being a mom. So I don't necessarily think that I needed to, it was definitely my path, but I think that's where I tapped into the ancestral clearing of the line, particularly when it comes to like the sacred feminine came in. Yeah.
So if you could wish, what would you think that the reader take with them after they finish the last page?
I would say to really have deep trust in your path. And if you are going through a period of big transformation, and P.S., I think every single person on the planet is, because we are collectively, but particularly individually, to trust that within you have access to that same intelligence that the butterfly has before it turns into the butterfly. It's called an imaginal cell. And that at this point in time, we're going through things individually, we're transforming individually, and we're not separate from each other. And so as we connect in with grace or our inner self or our soul, whatever like guidance system that you believe in, as you connect in with that and have the courage to say yes to that and act on that, it sends ripples out. You're becoming a imaginal cell within humanity as well. There's so much talk about like a new earth, and I love that concept, and I'm all for it. But there's something about like the phrase "a new earth" that these past 7 years have kind of like changed within my system, where I'm like, no, it's not a new earth. The earth doesn't need us to survive. The earth's going to be great. You know, it's us, it's humanity. And I think as each of us wake up, the thing to watch out for is to feel like, oh, it's all on me. I need to do all of this. Whereas that's impossible. That's actually the thinking that has gotten us into this imbalance with the earth. Whereas if we're saying, okay, I am just like one cell within the larger organism, and if I connect in with my inner guidance system, which is connected to the the intelligent pulse of life, then I can play my part, and then someone else will, and someone else will, and someone else will, and so we're part of this web, this rebirth of humanity. Yeah.
That's so true. So in a short 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say this book is about in its core essence?
This book is about reconnecting you to the intelligence within.
As simple as that. Thank you. So, but then again, so connecting to that, someone in crisis or, in despair or in a situation where you just want to get out of and to realign. If there was one exercise to get back on track for that person, what would you say? What would you teach?
I would say, don't avoid what you're feeling. So say it's grief, say it's rage, say it's frustration, whatever it is, feeling stuck, find a way to express that. And so that could be by putting on a song and singing it really loudly that really matches your mood. It could be moving your body in a way that it just wants to. Our voice, our body, it has the intelligence that it needs to move through anything. And so I'd say come back to the body, let the body move that energy through you. Because it's through that when we push it down or pretend it's not there, there's a severing that happens from our spirit, from that intelligence within, to our like everyday self. So you want to bring the two back together. And any big emotion, even something as huge as grief, it might take longer than you might want it to process. But if you let it breathe and move, it won't stay there forever.
Good tip. So what I take from that is sometimes you need to move, you need to scream, perhaps you need to express yourself, and sometimes you can sit and just let it walk through you, kind of. Would you say? Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah. And I think that at the moment, like there is a lot happening on the planet. And so there's things that we're going through individually, and then there's stuff that is just happening generally on the planet. And no matter who we are, we're connected to that. And so just like sometimes it's like, don't overthink it. Sometimes when we overthink it, we turn it into something that it's not. Whereas if we can let that energy move, through moving our bodies. Oh my gosh. I wish I had done that more in my life.
What is your next step? So you're creating lots of decks, you're writing books. What's your next thing?
An area that I'm exploring at the moment is music. I've created chants and some music just without it's just been a form of expression for me, but it feels like it's kind of like growing a little bit. So I'm dedicating some time to exploring that purely for the joy of it, and we'll see what emerges.
Oh, it sounds lovely. We're looking forward to see more of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Rebecca, I know that your time is up, or our time is up, and I just want to say thank you so much for this book. It's a very, very, how do you say? It's an intense book, I would say. Actually, it's a deep and reflective and beautifully written, as always, and creative setting, which I love, with those short chapters and lots of content within them. So thank you so much for this 4th book that we have in our stock, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. I appreciate your support.
Yeah, good. So go back to your children. Have a lovely day in summer.
Thank you, and good luck with your changing with your children as well.
Yes, it's big. It's big.
Yeah.
It never ends.
Oh my God.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye.